Hello everybody and welcome again to yet another mod review video. This time it being the Bell 47. This is a free module loosely based on the AH6J that was released quite a long time ago. This has been out for a while, but the download link was broken for a very long time, and this is one of those mods that I've really sort of wanted to try because I've seen the Bell 47s flying since I was a little kid. The Army historic aviation flight have one that's still flyable on the UK circuit. Not been doing the rounds much of late, with obvious reasons, but yeah, I don't know, there's just something that I love about it. It's the whole basically goldfish bowl with a load of welded pipe with a lawnmower engine and a couple of blades strapped to it. It just looks so backyard built. So it's got a sort of an appeal, and has always sort of held a little piece in my heart for, you know, nostalgia, just seeing these things growing up. But looking recently and found that it had been re-uploaded, and the link does work this time. So here we are. I'll put this link in, but you'll want to go here, and again I'll put this link in the description. You'll click that, select where to download it, usually download folder, and then you'll extract that from the download folder and it will go into your saved games DCS folder, mods, not into your core folder. So we'll get that onto the next step. So yeah, looking forward to this. So here we are on the configuration page on the mission editor, but before we get into any of this, give you a quick backstory on the British version of the Sioux, or Bell 47. The first 50 ordered for the Army Air Corps were built by Augusta in Italy back in 1964. This giving it the name the Augusta Bell Sioux AH Mark 1, AH being attack helicopter. And these first 50, they were ordered as a stopgap for the Westland built version of it, which started coming off the production line at Yeovil in 1965. Now the aircraft was taken on charge by the Army Air Corps at Nibbylot on the 3rd of July 1964, and for the duration of a military service was used for flying, training and engineering familiarization at Nibbylot. Now XT-131, which is the one at the Historic Aircraft Flight Trust at who currently have the airworthy one in the UK, she was transferred to the development and trials flight on the 18th of November 1977 until being taken on by the AHAF on the 11th of September 1980, and then handed over to the Historic Aircraft Flight Trust on the 1st of February 2015 and registered as GCICN. So the Sioux was affectionately referred to as the Clockwork Mouse in British service, and was distinctive for its bubble canopy, exposed welded tube tail boom and saddle fuel tanks. Its two-bladed rotor made a chop-chop sound, leading to the nickname Chopper for helicopters. So the Sioux is probably best known in the early military helicopters, earning its reputation during the Korean War. It was most recognised perhaps due to the success of the 1970 feature film based on the 1968 novel MASH. So there you go. And the Sioux was the first of many helicopters within the United States Army to be named after Native American tribes. So that's a short history taken off of the Historic Army Aircraft Flight web page for the Sioux. And so yeah, next we'll get on to all the extras and the liveries that come with it. It's a very good model. It's slightly off center, so we can't really see it properly. But as you can see, it's in the British Army United Nations peacekeeping scheme. You can have it as the Carabinieri, which is the Italian version. Civil, obviously, LVPD. I'm guessing that's Las Vegas Police Department. US Army. US Army Camo. Winter. The XT508 45 Commando Royal Marines Air Troop Aiden. And just the British Army Sioux. Now, I like to keep it in the British Army UN peacekeeping colours simply because I'm going to be flying it from Cyprus. But on top of that, you can have floats. These are purely for aesthetics. They don't actually give you the ability to land on water, so if you do add these, just don't be tempted to try and land on water because you'll sink very quickly. So remove those. You can add winches or cables, so you can carry things. You can change your rope length over here, and you can have it as a crop sprayer. Quite sure why you would want that as a crop sprayer in Digital Combat Simulator, but there you go. And we'll remove that. We can have it as a Medivac helicopter with 2 stretchers either side. You can have the whatever that is. I'm guessing some sort of extra for the engine, like an extra fuel tank maybe. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I did try and look up OH58D, but that just brought up the Kiowa. I'm not sure what Browning is. Or you can have a gunner. Now this one's slightly weird because it doesn't have any connectivity to the airframe. So there is a different type of gunner, and this one's a bit on the mad side, hanging out the side there with his gun. I won't be using any weapons in this video. It's just a matter of just pulling the trigger and it'll fire out the side. You can't really, it doesn't really have much practical sort of effect unless you're shooting at light infantry, I'm guessing. But yeah, so yeah, you can have all of that, which is great, but I just like to keep it as a plain little, as he was supposed to be training aircraft, you know, it's not really built for carrying anything, not in British Army scheme anyway. And this was originally a 3-seater, but this only has 2 in the cockpit, which is a bit odd. Yeah, anyway, we'll get into the sim, have a look at the controls, and then I'll do a little bit of flying. Okay, so there is a sort of cold start procedure list there, very simplistic, bit difficult to read. There's also a text document in the main folder of the mod, but it really is simple to start up. We'll just go over some controls quickly. So your axis controls as normal. Obviously you're going to want rudder for your tail rotor, and your pitch and rolls for your cyclic, but you do need to obviously split your throttles if you have a dual throttle for cyclic and collective. So there is that. Communications, if you want or need to do anything, obviously it's the / button, but for some reason it shows as OEM 102 on my rig, so not 100% sure on that. It is multi-crew apparently, allegedly, but you can occupy different seats. What's the next? There is night vision goggles, although they're not really that great to see through. They're too grainy to make any fine details out. Lighting, flashlight, left alt and lemur, landing light, position lights. Can't say anything for your position lights. Landing light, I've just set a button on my throttle. Systems, battery, everything's clickable in the cockpit in terms of getting it started. But this will be your best friend, your cyclic trim. For the love of God, do not attempt to fly this without setting the controls for this, otherwise you're just going to be wrestling it all the way. Throttle up and down, if you've got a lever, a throttle lever, you don't need to worry about that, but home and end, not home and end, page up and page down, sort out the throttle. You don't need to set a starter button or an idle cutoff, but I like to, just to make it quicker. And then you've got weapons, of which I've set weapon release and gunfire and master arm on, but I don't think I'd ever use this for any weaponry. So as simple as that really, but you really do need to need the cyclic trim. I can't stress that enough. Right, so we'll get on to the startup. So battery, you're going to want to left click that, so it goes on to battery, and then you're going to want to hold start, the starter switch, which the oil pressure will shoot up to 30 psi, and then the rotors will start spinning. Turbine's up to 15%. Now you're going to want, while holding the starter button, you're going to want to flick the throttle cutoff, which is this one here, but I've got that set as something on my throttle, and now you'll see that the turbine RPM's building up. Once it gets over 58%, we can let go of the starter button. Okay, so we can let go of the starter, and it's alive. Now, it does say flick on generator, which obviously, unless you want the batteries to die, but it also says on there to flick on the inverter, which you can't do that. So, other than that, you've got, what's down here, position lights, it's going to be your landing lights, and that's it really for clickables. Now up here is your little diamond that shows you where your position is in relativity of your control column or your collective. We are going to want to trim that, but before we do that we need to throttle up. So using our throttle, just throttle up to around about 78% RPM. I found any higher than that you start to have issues flying, it's almost like a pilot-induced oscillation. Unless that's just me, but I've had it happen numerous times. Once I've pushed that throttle any higher than 78%, I've had nothing but problems. Whereas once I'm up in the air on 78%, absolutely fine. I mean, you're not trying to break any airspeed records or anything like that, so you know. But experiment, see what you can get out of it. But if you watch the diamond now, I'm just going to put the side click slightly forward, because it does like to tip back once it's off the ground. I'm going to pull the collective up, of which just here. Okay, so we've got a couple of hinds going off there. Another Sioux. Okay, I think it's clear. Right, let's try it. So bad. Okay, so lay off of the rudder pedals now. I'm going to want to trim some more, because it still wants to tip backwards. Okay, once the speed gets going, we will still need to trim forward slightly. Okay, and eventually you'll get to a point where you can just let go of the stick and it will fly level. A little bit of left trim, only a tiny little bit. Okay, so we're just coming over the edge of the Nicosia or Nicosia boundary there. So we're going to have a little fly around the green line on Cyprus, and then we're going to come back. Try and make this as quick as possible, because I know it can be a bit tedious watching somebody else fly and not much happening. So you can see we're on 78% RPM. The turbine looks good, torque's good. Radar altimeter, we're a couple hundred feet off the ground, if that. It's telling us our bearing and the local time. So we're going to fly through this checkpoint. And round. And there's the MI-26 that was at Nicosia with me earlier. So I've not really had the guts to really throw this around at the moment, because I've had so many issues with the what felt like pilot-induced oscillation. But now that I've found a way of sort of taming the little critter, it really is a fun little thing to fly. Much like the AH-6J, there's a really fun little mod as well. So if you haven't flown that yet, I'd recommend that. I do have a video on that actually, I might link that at the end of this one. Great fun flying so low to the ground. Okay, let's follow this road back. So yeah, at the moment I've not needed to trim too much while flying, but when you come into land and take off, that is the most vital time to be trying to settle out the controls, because it does like to try and wiggle from you. So yeah, just be wary of that. Okay, so we're coming up to Nibbylot again. Let's go out and head back in, try and slow it down and try and land it. It should be a good giggle because last time I attempted it I rolled it, even though it was a really nice soft landing, and it didn't like being on the ground and decided to turn itself upside down. Right, so there's the runway. Okay. So bring the collective back slightly. Climb when we pull back on the cyclic. So we need to bring the trim back a bit. Sorry I'm not saying much at the moment. Oh, no. Oh well. Oh, there is another feature to this. I might as well show you it while I'm on the ground. Ready? And I managed to get changed all in the same time. Yes, you can eject from it. But here's someone who knows what he's doing. Although what he is doing exactly, I don't know. Anyway, that's the Bell 47, or the Westland AH Mark 1 at Sioux. And it was a fun flight, even though I did kill myself in the end. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.